African Bank is the largest unsecured lender in the South African market, with loan advances in the region of 60 billion rand, market cap which has shrunk in recent months to just 13 billion rand. In 2009, African Bank acquired Ellerines. It trades on a price-to-earnings ratio 5.6, dividend yield of about 6.9%. That's a healthy dividend yield, Rowan.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people have been attracted by that dividend yield, and if you looked, it was sort of as the share price was weakening before the significant decline, that is what held the share price up, I think, in terms of it got up to close to 9%. But clearly, was that dividend yield sustainable? Clearly not. And now it's re-rated, I guess, to a certain point again on dividend yield, and you're seeing it at a share price of around 16 rand that is showing a reasonable dividend yield. I think people really want to be compensated for the risk, inherent risk in the business, and more so since their failure to really deliver operationally as well.
Paul, African Bank, now we know, I think I better just disclose this for everybody out there. You really got this one wrong.
Yeah, I love these guys and I love the company and I love the space. So we've been owning this thing since it was at 15 rand.
Against all advice, by the way.
Then it went from 15 to 40. So then we were looking good. Then it went from 40 back to 15. So it's been a bit unpleasant. And people send me messages saying, what kind of a fool am I? I was standing on Hot Stocks recommending the stock when it was at 30, 9 months ago.
But you just wouldn't let it go.
But we owned this thing, we were long it, and we took some hits in our Hot Stocks portfolio. So this has all been very real and very personal. But my understanding of what they're dealing with right now is a business which continues to write good business. It's by far larger. You see that loan book is double the size of Capitec. It's a simple business. It doesn't do all sorts of other things. It simply does this. I think they got a little bit side-swiped by the fact that they didn't see the extent to which their competitors were snatching the good business in this space, and the kind of stuff they were writing wasn't of the quality they wanted.
And some of their faithful shareholders also got sideswiped.
Well, there you go. So the shareholder bad mood really, I think, was the key issue here. And we also saw foreign hedge funds and other people coming in and going short this stock, to the extent that it has created a massive sort of downdraft, a whole kind of negative feedback loop, which we sometimes see with the share price doing badly and then the business starts to take strain. They have announced that they are quite likely to do a rights issue. That's important. And Goldman Sachs has underpinned that.
Yeah. It is, and Goldman Sachs underpinning it may give the share a little traction from a sentiment perspective. You're saying no? Are you shaking your head?
No, I think it could. But all they did is they announced that they were considering a rights issue, and that in the event they wanted to press on with it, Goldman Sachs agreed to underwrite it, which I can only imagine must have come at quite a big fee from the bank to Goldman's. But we'll have to wait and see, because I suppose they could push that out. And the terms of that are key. If they're under pressure, they'll have to do it at a big discount.
Rowan, last night on the show on Business Tonight, Mark Ingham was saying under 16 rand, he's very happy to pick up African Bank. Your thoughts?
I think it's got to a price where it's fairly reflecting the inherent risks in the business. I think there is still some uncertainty. The potential further regulations, specifically around credit life and how much they can charge for that. Still some uncertainty about the in-duplum rule, although they took a hit in their results on that. But as I say, yes, much closer to fair value and reasonable value. I think the potential rights issue is a good underpin, because it was quite a clever move, because as Paul was saying, it was in sort of a downward spiral, especially if the credit suppliers get concerned, because they constantly have to roll their funding, and if that became unavailable to them, they could get into a liquidity crunch. I think they've put a halt on that. It clearly will be done at quite a significant discount for the shareholders to participate, but it does give a good underpin, and you're clearly seeing buyers at the 16 rand level.
Leon Kikinis is standing by this story through this troubled time. Paul, considering you've been a big lover of the stock, what are your thoughts on the management team?
No, they're a great management team. I mean, today they announced that one of their senior executives is taking time out because of an illness concern. That's disappointing, but I don't think it's necessarily too critical. The key individuals there for me are Leon, who is really the chief of the business, and then Gavin Jones, who's the treasurer, who has built this relationship with the capital markets. So as long as those two guys are there, I'm happy. And I just think it's going to take time. We know that a lot of people went short the stock. I'm not sure if they're still short, but obviously a big short interest creates the scope for a potential bounce back. I just think they're going to have to deliver sequentially earnings, and then the market will start falling in love with it again. People will forget, and then it'll start going up again. Do I expect that to happen tomorrow? Probably not.
Well, I don't think we should go on any recommendation from you, either up or down, on African Bank, because we've got to say you're not an expert on calling it correctly. Rowan, let's get your thoughts, hot or not, on African Bank.
I think management to some extent have blown their credibility, and it's not going to go anywhere until there's certainty around the rights issue. I'm still going to say not hot.
Paul, hot or not? And you're on the spot here, sir.
Definitely hot. At this level, attractive.